my spirit glow. You'll be the one.
Swan pose increases flexibility of the ankles and knees, stretches the hips, glutes, lower back, improves posture, strengthens the core, has a restorative effect or a strengthening effect. So we're going to take a look at them right now. We're going to use the blocks as progressive steps to lower safely. So we're going to start off in plank. So remember, plank, your shoulders and wrists are in one line. You're pulling the shoulders away from the ears. So never from here, but from here. Extend the right leg. Spine is going to be straight, legs are going to be straight. Lift the knees up. So here, heel and toe pads in one line. Look straight ahead. Inhale, step back into plank. So there's plank. It's not here and it's not here, but it's one straight diagonal line, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, downward dog. So downward dog, you're lifting the hips high and pressing the heels in towards the floor on the exhale. So you're thinking inhale is your chill and lift. Exhale becomes that press there, the press of the heels in towards the floor. Keep lifting the knees up as well, so you feel like you're drawing the thighs into the hips here. Then from here, inhale, lunge the right knee to the outside of the right wrist here. And then lower the left hip. So tilting to one side isn't right, you want to stay centred. And also, so some people may be here at this height and they're more on the front of the shins rather than at the side here. So you don't want to be here, but you want to be more towards the side of the shins. Use the blocks to, let's say if you're here with the knees bent, use them blocks to keep height with the aim that you can start to lower the back leg. You see here, the toes tuck under and I shift the weight back again. So make sure you can see that. So there, and then as I relax, I can start to bring the weight back and back until I've brought myself to a stable swan. So stable means that you have areas of the body to support, like touching the floor to support. So here, you've got less of the body touching the floor, so you have less support. So you use the blocks for that support until you're able to sit down. So from here, you'll start to, there are two variations. Lower the chest towards the floor, there, this becomes restful here, and then you'll hold this for as long as is comfortable. And make sure as well the front of the left thigh is staying towards the floor and the hip towards the floor rather than turning out. I'll show you from this side so you can see. So downward dog, inhale, left knee comes to the outside of the left wrist. This foot, first of all, is towards the groin there, the hip area. This thigh is towards the floor, hips alone. If they're high, then use the blocks for that height, and then as your hips stretch, you'll start to be able to bring that foot further back. So you tuck the toes under, press the heel away behind you, and then relax back down. So there and there. Start to use the blocks again for that height until you no longer need them. So you might even be here for that height and then start to walk them down, and then your thoughts are you want this foot to come further up in the end, so you get more of a right angle at the knee. So here, like this, you increase a stretch as this distance increases here. So here, obviously, there's less of a distance, so that's the easier version. And then if you're here and it's easy, you start to work on increasing that distance there and then lowering towards the floor here. And then variation, so that becomes, this here becomes quite a restorative nature. If you want to increase strength, which I would call the sun power, you start to lift the chest, bring the hands into prayer, inhale, reach up. You shouldn't be doing that variation unless you have a stable point here. So if you're kind of here, you shouldn't be doing this. You should try and create stability in the posture first, which comes from this pelvis being down, and then reach up. So there's a few techniques to use with the blocks. I'll go over them once more just so that you can see properly. So here, downward dog, inhale, right knee to the outside of the right wrist. So here, if you're here, as in more height in the hip area, more height off the floor, use the blocks to give you height of the chest, and then press the heels away from you as you relax. And then from here, start to walk forward, maintain the centre line rather than drop into one side, and then work on bringing that foot further up so you increase the distance. So let's go to the other side, downward dog. Inhale, left knee to the outside of the left wrist. So here, I may be, let's say, high up like this, in which case I'll use the blocks there. And then I'll tuck the toes under, press the heel away, and then start to lower. Once I'm there, I can start to keep the spine straight, walk the blocks away, and then down, and then I can think about increasing that distance and then doing the same thing again. So here, height, inhale, exhale, forward. So there I'm maintaining a straight back, change the sizing of the blocks, and then lower towards the floor and chill. And then to come up, inhale, straighten the back, tuck the toes under, exhale, downward dog. And then from here, knees to the floor and child's pose. So remember as well, it's not about how far you get in the posture, it's about identifying with the posture and actually with yourself, identify yourself in the posture. That means think about where you want to be and what you want to do. If you don't have the energy to be lifting up, or if you're being pulled back into the floor, you're now looking at resistance. And when that happens, resistance, if you go against that resistance, it can lead to injury. So you have to be a little bit savvy about your training, as in, can I relax in this posture and maintain the posture, as in maintain form? Because as soon as you start to lose form, you're now losing strength and alignment, and you put yourself at risk of injury. So you have to think, right, am I still active? Am I breathing properly? And then if it's a yes, Okay, so now I can relax, tuck the toes under, push away. If it's a no, then you need to lighten the stretch. So for lightening, the stretch is going to be here. If I've gone too far there, and I want to lighten the stretch, I'm going to have to close this distance there, like that, and like this. So that becomes me lightening the stretch there. If you're here, let me just pretend, so there. So I see this quite a lot of the time, and I see this quite a lot of the time. That's, to me, is totally wrong and a no-no. You need to work on establishing this close of a distance before you lift up. So let's say if you're here, like that, you need to be comfortable enough that you can tuck the toes under, press the heel behind, and push this hip back again. So take time, think about the posture, think of your alignment, think of whether you're maintaining form in the posture or not. If it's too much, it's going to show itself in breathing, so shallow breathing and also resistance in the body. You're not going to be able to relax in the posture. So that's what you need to think about, your identity, how you feel, how the posture feels, how your form is, and whether it's time to progressively move. You'll know it's time when the posture becomes too comfortable, it feels like nothing.